Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. We will present about research design, experimental, single-subject research, and pre-experimental research. My name is Mimbar Karunia Lestari, and my friend Dwi Styaningsih we will present about this topic. Okay, I will start. Definition of experimental research. Experimental research is the oldest form of quantitative research. The principles of experimental research are based on our daily lives. As a method of research in the social or behavioral sciences, experimental research is an experiment that can be controlled systematically but still on the principle of the protocol that can make us see what will happen and what is happening in the research. In this experiment, we are required to be able to measure the effect of the variable that we will examine, then introduce it, and control all factors in the variable. Points that need to be explained in the variable. Number 1. The independent variable must be determined first, then the dependent variable. Number 2. The independent variable must be related to the dependent variable. Number 3. There should be no alternative explanation for related variables other than the result of the research itself. Next is about single-subject research. Single-subject research design, also known as N-of-1 research, is a scientific method in which an individual acts as the research subject. In the world of research, it has synonyms as N-of-1 and single subject, which includes all scientific practice that focus on observation made on a single person. Based on quality indicator for single-subject experimental research developed by Horner and colleagues 2005, single-subject research should provide sufficient information for the following 5 standards. 1. Functional description of implementation. Number 2. Functional description of finding. Number 3. Accuracy of implementation. Number 4. Functional relationship between implementation and findings. Number 5. Quite a number of studies showing experimental control with a sufficient number of participants implemented by sufficient number of researchers or research group. Okay, next is about types of single subject and quality indicator. Types of single subject. Number 1, baseline treatment design. The first is the baseline, usually denoted by letter A, i.e., and the second intervention are usually denoted by the letter B. Number 2, multiple baseline design. A variation of multiple baseline design is multiple probe design. Number 3, alternating treatment design. An advantage of using this design is the ability to quickly compare different interventions. A disadvantage of this design, however, is that it is not possible to create a trend line for its different conditions. Quality indicators in single-subject research. The purpose of the establishment of quality indicator in single-subject research is to assist researchers and practitioners in connecting the single-subject research method that they have proposed in the study that will be the object of research. These quality indicators included specific criteria amongst others. Number 1, participant description. Number 2, dependent and independent variable standards. Number 3, inclusion and description of baseline base. Number 4, discussion of internal, external, and social validity.
Pre-experimental. Pre-experimental design are focused on studying a single group that is given the experimental intervention or experimental groups only. Campbell and Stanley 1963 identified three types of pre-experiment. The first is one-shot case study, the second is one-group pretest, post-test design, and the third, the static group comparison. Types of pre-experimentals. The first is one-shot case study. A single group is studied at a single point in time after some treatment that is presumed to have caused the change. Match-based research applies a design in which a single group was studied only once after a treatment was applied. The studies are diagrammed as follows: X and O, X treatment and O observation. And you make a group of participants and then give there a treatment and then post-test. The second is one group pretest, post-test design. A single case is observed at two time points, one before the treatment and one after the treatment. This research applies a pre-experimental design, or one group pretest and post-test. This design involves one group that is pretest O1 exposed to treatment X and post-test O2. The last is the static group comparison. The third pre-experimental design is the static group comparison, e.g. Laser 1984. The static group comparison is a group that has experienced some treatment is compared with one that has not. Observed differences between the two groups are assumed to be a result of the treatment. In this design, a post-test is administered to two groups, and one having been administered Tx and the other not, or a control group. When diagrammed, this design appears as follows: SO1 and O2. And divide the student into two groups and then give intervention to one group and then give post-test to two groups. Okay, thank you for your attention, guys. If we have a mistake, we apologize. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.